Snow cuts sideways across the empty Montana highway, wind hammering the guardrail as flames claw up from a wrecked SUV in the ravine below. Retired Navy SEAL Cole Maddox drops to one knee in the slush, one steady hand gripping the harness of his German Shepherd Atlas. Down! Atlas folds instantly into a controlled down stay beside the burning vehicle, ears forward, body coiled but disciplined. Up on the roadside, a small crowd gathers despite the storm. Phones are raised. Someone yells that the fuel tank could blow. A county deputy cruiser flashes red and blue through the snow. The deputy shouts for Cole to step back and let law enforcement handle it. But the burned woman crawling through the snow grabs Cole's sleeve with surprising strength. A charred badge catches the firelight. "BI." Through broken breaths she whispers. "It wasn't an accident. Silver Creek Academy. Basement. Midnight transfer." Atlas lifts his head at the tremor in her voice but does not move without command. The deputy's hand drops to his holster. The flames surge higher. Midnight is hours away. If Cole walks away now, children vanish forever. Would you stop in that storm, knowing the whole town might turn on you? Tell us below and stay with brave K9 Story. Establish Cole Maddox's disciplined but fractured life, Atlas's controlled professionalism, and the urgency of Special Agent Claire Bennett's warning. Cole carries Claire Bennett up the snowy embankment while Atlas remains in a tight heel position, matching every step despite the chaos. "Heel," Cole repeats once when the dog's attention flicks toward the fire. Atlas corrects instantly, shoulder aligned with Cole's knee. The deputy protests, but Claire's condition forces action. Cole loads her carefully into the back of his truck. "Load." Atlas jumps into the rear compartment and settles without pacing. The dog's breathing is steady, eyes forward. The drive to Ridgestone Regional Hospital cuts through darkness and blowing snow. Cole keeps one hand on the wheel, the other occasionally checking Claire's pulse at stoplights. In the rearview mirror, Atlas watches the road behind them, posture upright but silent. Cole's life has narrowed to routines since leaving the teams. Night drives. Insomnia. The lake cabin outside town. Atlas is the only constant that still responds to command without question. The dog grounds him. Structure replaces sleep. At the emergency entrance, nurses rush out with a gurney. Cole steps back once Claire is transferred. "Stay," he tells Atlas quietly. The dog holds position beside the truck, ignoring the shouting, flashing lights, and crowd pressing closer. That is when Cole notices the black pickup. It sits across the street, engine running despite the storm. Headlights off. Windows tinted too dark for Montana winter glare. No visible plates front or back. Does not belong. Cole does not stare. He logs it. Height of suspension. Aftermarket tires. Minor dent in the rear panel. Driver silhouette broad-shouldered. Sheriff Colton Hale arrives within minutes. Too fast. Hale exits his cruiser smiling, shaking snow from his hat. Cameras from bystanders' phones tilt toward him. He clasps Cole's hand firmly for the public. "Town appreciates what you did tonight," he says loudly. Then his voice lowers. "But we'll take it from here." Hale's gaze lingers on Atlas's service harness. "Still playing soldier, Cole?" The old reflex rises in Cole's chest. The impulse to step closer to challenge tone. Atlas senses it. The dog shifts weight slightly forward. "Down," Cole says under his breath. Atlas lowers immediately, chin just above the snow, posture alert but controlled. Discipline over reaction. Hale watches the command exchange. Something unreadable crosses his face. "Why were you out there tonight?" he asks casually. "Couldn't sleep," Cole replies. "True enough." Hale nods slowly. "Storm's bad. Lucky you found her." Lucky is not the word. Inside the hospital, Claire regains consciousness briefly. A nurse waves Cole back as she murmurs his name. Atlas remains outside in a firm stay, despite paramedics stepping around him. Claire's voice is ragged but focused. Briar Hollow Academy, she whispers. It's not a rehab. Basement holding rooms. Midnight transport. Private strip outside town. Cole listens without interrupting. Local law is compromised, she adds. Accountant. Peter Lawson. He kept copies. Her fingers tighten around his sleeve. If they move tonight, they disappear. Then her grip slackens. Monitors spike. Nurses rush him back. Rising stakes settle into something colder than adrenaline. Midnight transport. Basement holding rooms. Compromised law. Cole steps back into the snow-filled parking lot. Atlas rises automatically and moves to heel without being asked. Across the street, the black pickup's brake lights flare once. The engine revs softly. It pulls away slowly, deliberately, tires cutting fresh lines through drifting snow. Cole watches until it disappears into white darkness. He checks his watch. Less than 8 hours until midnight. If Claire is right, children are underground right now. And someone in this town already knows he heard the warning. Scene goal. Show town resistance and humiliation while planting a key operational clue. Cole drives through the wrought iron gates of Briar Hollow Academy just after midday. Snow still drifting across the fields. The campus looks almost staged for a postcard. Warm yellow light glows from the main lodge windows. Children in winter coats move between buildings under supervision. Laughter carries across the yard. It looks clean. Orderly. Atlas sits upright in the passenger seat until Cole gives the quiet command. Out! The German Shepherd steps down, falls automatically into heel position, shoulder aligned with Cole's leg. No pulling. No scanning wildly. Professional. Cole approaches the administrative building under the pretext of inquiring about a veterans outreach donation listed on their website. Director Malcolm Whitaker meets him at the entrance with an easy smile and polished handshake. His coat is tailored. His tone rehearsed. Mr. Maddox, right? Whitaker says loudly enough for nearby parents to hear. We're honored veterans take an interest in our little academy. Several staff members linger within earshot. 2 parents pretend to check their phones but angle their cameras slightly. Whitaker tilts his head. I heard about the accident last night. Terrible thing. Shame how trauma makes people see conspiracies. A few soft chuckles ripple through the group. Burned agents chasing ghosts, Whitaker adds casually. Must be exhausting. Cole does not react. Atlas remains in a perfect heel, gaze forward. A security guard approaches, testing boundaries. He steps within inches of Atlas's face and waves a gloved hand sharply in front of the dog's eyes. Atlas does not flinch. Cole's voice remains even. Respect distance. The guard smirks but steps back. Atlas does not break posture. Controlled obedience under provocation. Whitaker gestures toward the main hall. We provide rehabilitation and structure for troubled foster youth. You're welcome to tour the public areas. Public areas. Inside everything appears normal. Clean floors. Bulletin boards. Staff guiding children through art activities. The presentation is flawless. Cole notices a clipboard resting on a reception counter near a side corridor. Delivery schedules. He does not reach for it immediately. He glances as if casually reading. Several entries are marked as food supplies. One entry scheduled for 11:45 p.m. is labeled medical supplies. The delivery address references a storage annex rather than the kitchen. The signature approving the shipment matches the looping style engraved on a brass plaque in the lobby. Major donor Victor Holden. The timing aligns too precisely with Claire's warning. Emotional beat. As they move near a maintenance hallway, Cole hears something faint beneath the noise of the building. Hollow metallic echo. Not the sound of footsteps above ground. Atlas's ears flick subtly toward a steel utility door partially concealed behind stacked cleaning crates. Cole lowers his hand slightly. Search. Atlas lowers his nose, drawing air rather than touching surfaces. He moves in a controlled arc, inhaling near the door seam. His posture tightens briefly. Quiet shift in breathing. Scent detected. But he does not scratch or bark. He waits for further instruction. Whitaker's tone sharpens. That area is restricted. Sheriff Colton Hale appears again, boots heavy against the tiled floor. His timing is precise. "Cole," Hale says with a friendly edge that does not reach his eyes. "You're wandering into staff-only areas. We can't have that." Phones rise higher now. Parents whisper. The narrative shifts publicly from concerned veteran to disruptive outsider. "Just asking questions," Cole replies. Whitaker smiles for the audience. "Questions are fine. Accusations are not." Hale steps closer. "Let's not make this bigger than it needs to be." Public pressure builds. The implication is clear. Leave quietly or become the problem. Cole nods once. He does not argue in front of cameras. "Heel." Atlas turns smoothly and walks beside him without looking back. But as they pass the maintenance hallway exit, Atlas's head tilts slightly toward the half-hidden steel door again. Just a fraction of a second. Cole notices. He files the location, a schedule, a signature, timing. As they exit through the gates, snow beginning to fall heavier again, Cole checks his watch. Less than 7 hours until midnight. And beneath a warm, wholesome academy, something metallic echoes under the floor. Cole finds Peter Lawson's cabin 15 miles outside Ridgestone, tucked between pine trees and half buried in snowdrifts. The place looks forgotten. One truck in the driveway. No other tracks. Atlas remains in heel as Cole approaches the porch. No barking. No lunging. Just alert. Lawson opens the door after a long pause. He looks thinner than his driver's license photo. Dark circles. Tremor in his hands. "You shouldn't be here," Lawson whispers immediately. "Neither should you," Cole replies. Inside, the cabin smells of stale coffee and paper. Financial folders are stacked across the table. A laptop sits open but unplugged. Lawson talks fast, voice cracking. He confirms Briar Hollow is a laundering hub. Donations routed through shell foundations. Medical supply invoices that never match actual deliveries. Midnight transports logged as facility maintenance. "They move kids like cargo," Lawson says. "I kept copies. I didn't know what else to do." Before Cole can respond, the cabin lights flicker. Then go dark. Silence. Atlas stiffens slightly but does not move. Cole listens. No wind shift. No transformer pop nearby. Power cut intentionally. Lawson grabs his phone. No signal. Cole checks his own. Isolation. Headlights sweep across the front window. 2 men step onto the porch wearing heavy jackets with generic state investigator patches. They knock once hard. Lawson freezes. Cole gives a quiet command. "Place." Atlas moves smoothly behind Cole's right leg and settles into a controlled sit, positioned for visibility but not aggression. Cole opens the door halfway. The first man flashes a badge. "State Investigative Division. We've received reports of financial irregularities. Mr. Lawson, we need to see your records." Cole studies the badge without appearing confrontational. The metal looks new. Too clean. The serial engraving is shallow and slightly off-center. The second man shifts his weight impatiently. Small action. Cole lifts his phone as if checking signal and casually angles it toward the porch. Quick tap. Photo captured of the badge close-up. As one man steps back toward the driveway, Cole subtly turns again, catching the rear license plate of their SUV. Another silent photo. Lawson's breathing grows shallow. The taller man steps inside without invitation. "We'll need those files now." His tone is not procedural. It is coercive. He reaches toward Lawson's shoulder. Cole's voice remains calm. "Stand." Atlas rises instantly from behind Cole's leg. No bark. No forward lunge. Just a fixed, unblinking stare at the man's hand inches from Lawson. The effect is immediate. The man's arm halts midair. The second fake investigator's hand drifts toward his jacket, where a weapon likely rests. Cole does not escalate. No one touches him. Atlas holds eye contact, posture rigid but controlled. Lawson's composure cracks. "Maybe I should just give them everything," he whispers to Cole. "If I cooperate, maybe they'll leave." Emotional beat. Fear is winning. Cole lowers his voice so only Lawson hears. "If they were real investigators, they wouldn't cut your power first." The logic lands. Lawson swallows. The taller man forces a tight smile. "You're interfering with a state inquiry, Mr. Maddox." "Then call it in," Cole replies evenly. Silence stretches. Snow drifts across the porch behind them. The two men exchange a look. They step back slowly. "Stay out of town matters," one warns quietly. "You don't understand what you're stepping into." They retreat to their vehicle. Engine starts. Tires crunch against ice. Cole waits until the headlights disappear down the road. Only then does he give the next command. "Down." Atlas lowers back into a calm posture. Lawson sinks into a chair, shaking. "They were going to take everything," he says. "They still might," Cole replies. "Which means we move first." Cole reviews the images on his phone once cell signal returns briefly near the window. The badge engraving error is clear. The license plate captured cleanly. Fraudulent credentials. Attempted intimidation. Obstruction. Evidence. Isolation failed. And now whoever sent those men knows Lawson is no longer alone. Cole's phone rings just after dusk. Unknown number. He answers without greeting. Smooth male voice responds. "Mr. Maddox. Victor Holden. I believe we share concern for this town's future." Cole says nothing. "Let's not do this over the phone," Holden continues. "Java Ridge Cafe. Public place. 20 minutes. Cole arrives first. Java Ridge sits on the main street, windows fogged against the cold. The evening crowd is light. Two older couples. A teenager behind the counter. Snow building outside. Atlas walks in at heel. Controlled. Head level. No scanning. Cole selects a table with clear sightlines. "Down." Atlas folds under the table immediately, chin resting on his paws, body tucked tight but alert. Victor Holden enters wearing a tailored wool coat and the confidence of someone used to being deferred to. Mid-50s. Clean haircut. Expensive watch. A man who sponsors charity galas and sits on boards. His bodyguard remains a step behind. Holden smiles warmly as he sits. "You've been busy." Cole keeps his expression neutral. Holden gestures casually toward Atlas beneath the table. "Impressive animal. Town needs more discipline like that." "Atlas works," Cole replies simply. Holden leans back. "Briar Hollow has done a great deal of good. You chasing rumors damages that work." "You called me," Cole says. Holden nods, unfazed. "I did. Because I prefer solutions over misunderstandings." He slides a folder across the table. Inside are architectural sketches for a proposed K-9 training facility outside town limits. "Privately funded," Holden explains. "Veteran run. Your name on it. Something positive." Cole does not touch the folder. Holden's tone remains conversational. "Your father's property taxes are behind again. Shame if that land were lost. But problems can be solved when good men cooperate." There it is. Not a threat. Reminder. Under the table, Atlas remains perfectly still. The bodyguard shifts his foot deliberately, pressing the toe of his boot lightly against Atlas's paw. Atlas does not move. Cole's voice is quiet. "Leave it." Atlas exhales once and stays down. Holden notices the control. Victim near breaking point. For a moment, Cole feels the weight of it. Lawson isolated in a cabin. Claire barely conscious in a hospital bed. His father vulnerable. Every move escalating risk. Holden senses hesitation. I'm offering stability, Halden says softly. Walk away. Let federal people chase paperwork. Focus on building something good here. Cole studies him. You mentioned the strip, Cole says calmly. Storm delay. Halden's smile tightens a fraction. The private airstrip outside Redstone gets tricky in winter, Halden replies smoothly. Community logistics. Weather affects everyone. But Cole never mentioned an airstrip. Clue 2 planted. Only someone coordinating movement would reference a delay. The bodyguard shifts again, tension rising. Halden leans forward slightly. You're a respected veteran. Don't let paranoia tarnish that. Cole stands slowly. Heel. Atlas slides from under the table and aligns at his side without brushing a chair. Halden's warmth fades. You're stepping into machinery you don't understand, Halden says quietly. And machinery doesn't bend for one man. Cole meets his eyes. Midnight comes fast, Halden adds, voice losing its charm. The words are not a warning. They are a countdown. Cole turns and walks toward the door. Atlas keeps pace perfectly, ignoring the bodyguard's lingering stare. Outside snow thickens. Cole checks the time. Less than 5 hours. Halden did not deny anything. He tried to buy silence, which means the basement is real. And whatever leaves that airstrip tonight cannot be allowed to take off. Snow falls heavier as Cole parks a mile from Briar Hollow and approaches on foot through tree cover. No headlights, no noise. Atlas moves beside him on silent hand signals alone. Flat palm means slow. 2 fingers forward means advance. Closed fist means freeze. The maintenance entrance sits exactly where Cole logged it earlier, partially concealed by stacked supply crates. He waits, listens. No movement inside. Cole slips the door open with minimal sound. Atlas follows in tight heel, body brushing close to Cole's leg. Inside the hallway, fluorescent lights hum faintly. The building above carries distant normal sounds. Footsteps, muted conversation. Below the surface, something else. They reach the steel utility door Atlas marked earlier. Cole presses his ear to it. Silence. He pulls a compact pry tool from his jacket and works the latch carefully. It gives with a dull metallic click. Atlas tenses but waits. The door opens to a narrow concrete stairwell leading down. Cold air rises from below. At the bottom sits a reinforced bunker door with keypad access. Cole checks the frame, recent scuff marks around the lock. Frequent use. He forces entry. Inside the basement, the air smells stale and chemical. 4 children huddle against a cinderblock wall under dim lighting. 3 appear younger. 2 girls around 10 and 11, and a small boy maybe 8. Sedated. Weak. In front of them stands a thin 13-year-old boy with dark hair and hollow eyes. Mason Reed. He steps protectively in front of the others when he sees Cole. Atlas lowers his head slightly but does not bark. Cole kneels slowly. We're here to help. Mason studies him, then the dog. Atlas remains still. Mason's shoulders tremble. They said no one would come. Cole moves carefully toward the younger children, checking pulses. All alive. Footsteps thunder above. Doors slam. Sheriff Colton Hale appears at the stairwell with 3 deputies behind him, weapons drawn. Director Malcolm Whitaker stands just behind them, holding a folder. Well, Hale says evenly, looks like we caught you in the act. Whitaker raises the paperwork. Emergency guardianship transfers. These children were legally relocated for treatment. The documents appear official. Stamp. Forgery layered in procedure. Deputies raise their firearms. Step away from the minors, Hale orders. Cole calculates distance. Angles. Risk. Any sudden move creates crossfire near children. Stay, he commands quietly. Atlas freezes mid-step, positioned between Mason and the stairwell but not advancing. The deputies look uncertain for a moment. Hale's voice rises for authority. You broke into private property and abducted protected youth. Protected. The inversion is complete. Antagonists momentarily stronger. Cole slowly lifts his hands. Mason whispers urgently near his shoulder. They take us to Redstone Airfield. White hangar. After midnight. Cole keeps his gaze forward. Deputies move in cautiously. One kicks Atlas's flank lightly, testing reaction. Atlas does not break stay. Whitaker smirks faintly. Hale steps closer. You should have taken the money. Then Hale's radio crackles sharply. He turns slightly to listen. The voice on the other end is clipped and formal. Sheriff Hale, this is Special Agent in Charge Daniel Porter, Denver Field Office. We've received a direct corruption flag from Special Agent Claire Bennett. Federal oversight is en route to Briar Hollow effective immediately. Secure all personnel and records. Hale's jaw tightens. Whitaker's composure cracks for the first time. Cole lowers his hands slowly. Hale's eyes burn with restrained anger. This isn't over, he mutters. Outside, faint sirens begin to echo in the distance. Atlas remains in perfect stay despite the chaos. Midpoint shift achieved. The children are real. The corruption is confirmed. But the machinery is bigger than one sheriff. And midnight is still approaching. Federal vehicles arrive in staggered formation, lights cutting through snow. Agents secure the perimeter, weapons lowered but ready. Sheriff Hale remains outwardly cooperative now, though tension rides in every clipped movement. The bunker door stands open. Cole helps lift the younger children carefully, one at a time. Atlas remains under tight verbal control. Heel. The dog moves beside Mason, positioning himself between the stairwell and the children without being told twice. Claire's warning echoes in Cole's mind. Midnight. Agents begin escorting the 4 children upstairs. The scene is controlled but fragile. Deputies whisper to each other. Whitaker insists on legal misunderstandings. Hale keeps glancing toward his watch. Halfway up the corridor, chaos breaks. One of the younger girls is suddenly missing. A federal agent calls out her name. Panic spreads instantly. Snow boots scuff tile. Doors open and slam. Someone shouts that she was just behind Mason seconds ago. Near loss. Cole feels the floor drop beneath him. He turns to Atlas. Track. The command shifts everything. Atlas lowers his nose immediately to the corridor floor where the girl last stood. No barking. No sprinting. Just focused scent acquisition. He inhales deeply, tail level, body controlled. He moves left, then pauses at a junction. Cole follows without interfering. Atlas continues down a narrow utility hallway that most agents bypassed. The scent trail is faint, cleaning chemicals and cold air interfering, but he adjusts, nose sweeping lower. The hallway ends at a laundry staging area. 3 rolling laundry carts sit near a service elevator. Atlas circles once. He stops at the middle cart. Instead of barking or lunging, he lifts one paw and scratches lightly at the canvas side panel. Just once. Then sits. Signal. Cole steps forward and pulls the side flap open. Inside, curled tightly beneath folded sheets, is the missing girl. Wait. Terrified. Sedative wearing off. Someone had already prepared her for discreet movement. Nonviolent decisive skill. Atlas prevented a silent removal. An agent secures the area. The girl is carried safely back to the group. As the scene stabilizes, Atlas turns his attention elsewhere. He walks toward a stack of sealed wooden crates near the elevator. No command given. He stops at one crate labeled with a shipping code. He scratches once at the corner. Cole recognizes the alphanumeric sequence immediately. It matches a line item from Lawson's financial spreadsheet. Second clue planted. These crates are not food. They are linked to the transport network. Above ground, tension spikes again. Radio chatter erupts across federal channels. Sheriff Hale has dispatched deputies to assist with traffic control on the main access road. Translation: block federal convoy vehicles from reaching Redstone Airfield quickly. Hale is buying time. Cole checks his watch. Less than 2 hours until midnight. If Hale delays federal units long enough, whoever controls the airstrip could move remaining evidence or accomplices. Cole turns to the supervising federal agent. "You're going to get tied up in procedural securing here," he says quietly. "The shipment point is Redstone Airfield. White Hangar." The agent hesitates. Protocol requires consolidation. Atlas stands beside Mason, calm but alert, as if aware the mission is not finished. Cole makes the decision. "I'm going," he says. "If something lifts off that strip tonight, we lose the network." The agent studies him for a long moment. "You're not law enforcement," the agent says carefully. "I don't need to be," Cole replies. "I just need to stall them." Snow intensifies outside. Cole clips Atlas's leash securely. "Heel." Atlas aligns instantly. Behind them, the rescued children are finally safe in federal vehicles. Ahead of them, a private airstrip sits in the storm. And midnight is approaching fast. Redstone Airfield sits exposed against open snowfields, wind ripping sideways across the tarmac. One hangar door is partially open. Light spills out into the storm. Cole parks beyond the tree line and approaches on foot with Atlas at heel. The plane's engines are not yet running, but ground crews move quickly inside. Through the hangar gap, he sees Victor Holden directing 2 men loading sealed crates into a twin-engine cargo aircraft. The same crate codes Atlas marked earlier. Evidence in motion. Atlas's posture tightens but remains controlled. Cole steps into the hangar threshold. "Evening," he calls out evenly. Holden turns slowly, irritation replacing surprise. "You just don't learn." Sheriff Colton Hale emerges from behind a fuel truck with 2 deputies. "You're interfering with an active transport," Hale announces loudly. "Drop any weapons and step away." Cole's hands remain visible. He is armed legally, but he does not reach. Behind him, an SUV door slams. Peter Lawson steps out shakily, clutching a laptop bag. He had followed at distance to transmit files once signal returned. Hale's expression darkens. "You should have stayed in your cabin," Hale mutters. Mason Reed, bundled in a federal-issued coat, steps from behind Cole instinctively, trying to see what is happening. That is when Hale crosses the line. He raises his service weapon, not directly at Cole, but angled near Mason's chest as if to control positioning. The message is clear. The child is leverage. Everything inside Cole goes still. "Guard," he says quietly. Atlas moves instantly. He steps forward and positions his body squarely between Mason and Hale's extended arm. He does not lunge. He does not bite. He barks once. Bark. Commanding. Not frantic. The sound slices through the hangar. Hale flinches involuntarily, his aim shifting slightly. Deputies tense, unsure. Atlas holds position, muscles rigid, eyes locked on Hale's weapon hand. No further movement. Controlled defense. "Lower it," Cole says calmly. Hale hesitates. Snow gusts through the open hangar door. For a split second, it feels like everything could fracture into gunfire. Holden steps forward sharply. "You're making this worse." Cole's voice does not rise. "You pointed a weapon at a child." The accusation hangs in the cold air. Meanwhile, Lawson kneels behind a fuel drum and opens his laptop. His hands tremble, but he connects to a portable hotspot device. "Uploading," Lawson whispers. "Financial spreadsheets. Shipping manifest. Donation trails. The badge photos. Cafe recording." He presses send. Hale notices the movement. "Stop him." One deputy steps toward Lawson. "Stay." Cole commands Atlas again. Atlas holds guard position, blocking Mason without advancing. The deputy hesitates to cross that invisible line. Holden snaps his fingers toward the cockpit. "Start it." The engines roar to life. Propellers spin, snow blasting outward in violent spirals. Cliffhanger. Distant sirens echo faintly across the open fields, but they are still miles away. The cargo plane begins to taxi slowly toward the runway. Evidence inside. Crates nearly loaded. Files transmitting. Atlas still standing between a child and a drawn weapon. Midnight only minutes away. If that plane lifts off, the town buries its secrets for good. The cargo plane lurches forward, engines roaring, snow blasting in spirals across the runway lights. Holden steps back with cold confidence, assuming momentum is already on his side. Cole does not run toward the cockpit. He moves along the wing instead. Atlas holds his guard position until given the next command. Stay. The German Shepherd remains planted between Mason and Sheriff Hale, eyes fixed, posture rigid but controlled. Cole reaches the nose of the aircraft as it begins to taxi. He knows the model. He has flown in worse during deployments overseas. He understands where power transfers from ignition to prop assembly. He does not touch the propeller. He reaches beneath the cowling access panel, already loosened from maintenance earlier in the day. He pulls the small ignition feed cable free and secures it in his gloved hand. The engine sputters. Not an explosion. Not sabotage. Stall. The propeller loses synchronization and spins down unevenly. The aircraft rolls to a slow halt. Holden turns sharply. What did you do? Maintenance issue. Cole answers evenly. Controlled prevention. No destruction. No chaos. Just delay. Holden's bodyguard reacts fast. He yanks open the rear door of an SUV and releases a Belgian Malinois trained for protection. The dog launches forward, locked onto the nearest moving target. Mason. The air tightens. Intercept. Cole commands. Atlas moves instantly. He breaks from guard position in a direct line, meeting the Malinois mid-run. There is no wild snapping. No uncontrolled aggression. Atlas angles his body, absorbs impact, and pivots with precision. He clamps onto the other dog's harness, not the throat. Controlled engagement. They hit the ground once. Snow sprays outward. The Malinois struggles, but Atlas shifts weight expertly, pinning without tearing flesh. It is restraint through dominance, not damage. Out, Cole commands sharply. Atlas releases immediately. He backs up 2 steps but stays squared, ready if needed. The Malinois handler scrambles forward and restrains his dog, stunned at the level of control. That moment matters. Atlas did not maul. He neutralized and disengaged on command. Distant sirens grow louder now. Within seconds, black SUVs marked with Federal Bureau of Investigation insignia crest the ridge and flood the runway with headlights. Agents deploy in coordinated formation. Weapons low but ready. Movements crisp and procedural. Agent in charge Robert Ellis steps forward, badge visible. Federal jurisdiction. Ellis announces clearly. This airfield is now a secured federal crime scene under interstate trafficking investigation and federal assault statute. Holden opens his mouth to argue. Ellis cuts him off. We have documented evidence of forged credentials, unlawful detention of minors, attempted obstruction, and conspiracy across state lines. Agents move with precision. One team secures the aircraft. Another detains Whitaker, who has just arrived in a second vehicle, trying to observe quietly. Sheriff Hale attempts to assert local authority. Ellis meets him directly. Your office is named in the corruption flag filed by Special Agent Claire Bennett and corroborated by transmitted financial records. 2 agents step forward. Hale is disarmed and placed in cuffs without struggle. The wind carries silence across the runway. Lawson stands behind a fuel drum, laptop still open. Files confirmed uploaded, he says weakly. Ellis nods. We received them. Evidence matters. The photographed fake badges are verified. The shipping crate codes match Lawson's spreadsheets. The recorded cafe conversation confirms Holden's prior knowledge of the airstrip schedule. Security logs from the hangar show unauthorized after-hours transport entries. The case is layered and intact. Holden's composure finally fractures as agents secure his wrists in steel cuffs. "This town will collapse without me," he mutters. Ellis responds calmly. "It will recover." Deputies who once stood behind Hale now lower their eyes, stepping aside as federal control becomes absolute. Respect reveal. Ellis turns toward Cole. "You maintained restraint," he says clearly, voice carrying across the runway. "You preserved evidence. You prevented escalation. And your K-9 executed a controlled intercept that likely prevented injury." The deputies hear it. The agents hear it. The town representatives who have gathered at a distance hear it. Cole does not respond with pride. He nods once. Atlas stands at heel again, posture calm, breathing steady despite the chaos moments earlier. The storm begins to ease. Engines are silent. Cuffs click closed. Children are loaded into heated federal vehicles. Emotional respect moment. Mason approaches slowly, uncertainty in his step. He looks at Atlas, then at Cole. "Is he safe?" Mason asks quietly. "Yes," Cole replies. He gives a single command. "Free." Atlas's posture softens instantly. He lowers his head and steps forward gently, nudging Mason's hand with his nose. The boy exhales shakily and rests his fingers against the dog's fur.